Welcome to the Kurzgesagt Scale Lab, where we investigate all things great and small. Please keep hands and feet inside the lab at all times. You may use the yellow bar to adjust your position until you're comfortable. Comfortable.
Oh, sorry about that. I've been on standby I've been hard at work doing stuff. Anyway, you must be on a tour of the Kurzgesagt labs, huh? Well, lucky you've wandered into the best lab by far. Let me show you around. Check out the blue capsule on the left. This is my greatest invention, a way to overcome the laws of physics. Shrinkagen. If you add it to things, they become teeny tiny. And I managed to invert it so I can also scale things to giant size. It can get a bit tricky when you overdo it, but 70% of the time it works every time. Oh, almost forgot. There should be a tablet with yellow handles nearby. Could you pick it up, please? That's the lab tab. It works as a travel guide for this lab. It records as I talk and makes suggestions about what to do next. You can use your thumbstick to scroll and go between pages while you're holding it. Go ahead, try it out. Okay, check out the machine on your right, the one with the big handle in the middle. This is the Scalevator. It lets you grow and shrink this whole lab so you can visit other realms and see the worlds within worlds around you for yourself. It can also take the lab outside. Let me demonstrate. Wow, it's good to be out again. So much data to be collected. But I'm sure you can't wait to try out my invention. Do you see a boxy white tool with a yellow handle that looks like it could be some kind of blaster? There it is, the multi-tool. The first thing it does is analyze things. Hold down the trigger and point it at, let's say, that rubber duck. Good. Despite their name, rubber ducks are generally made of plastic, not rubber, but it will still make a perfect guinea pig. To collect it, you'll need one of these red capsules with a big window in front. I use Shrinkagen to store the tools when they're not needed. Keeps the lab looking tidy. Put that in the multi-tool. Now point the multi-tool at the rubber duck and press the trigger. Yes. I've missed this. Now comes the really cool part. That machine with the Shrinkagen is the Opticizer. It uses Shrinkagen. Let's scale it up and make a huge rubber duck. I have many more Shrinkagen tanks stored away. We can use this one up. Set the lever on the Opticizer to the mountain icon and push the... Now press the button to send the giant rubber duck into the world. Well done. Now to take a look at the new giant duck, we will get huge ourselves. Go to the other machine, the Scalevator, and set its lever to the mountain icon. Then press the button when you're ready to see what this lab can really do. Welcome to the mountain realm. You are so big now that the city looks like a bunch of toys below you. Speaking of toys, I have one more thing to show you. Let's take this ducky for a ride. Grab the controller with the little antenna in front of you. This is the Duck Drone. Duck can reach and manipulate things outside while you stay safe and cozy in the lab. It has lots of useful tools. This one, the claw, grabs when you press the trigger on that controller. Use it to pick up the rubber duck, then we'll do a little obstacle course. You could fly out to, let's say that lighthouse out on the lake and take a turn around it. Oh no, Not another problem. My sensors are showing substantial shrinkagen leakage in the city. The wave must have hit the storage tanks. Who knows what happened this time? No, I refuse to be shut down again. Please, you need to help me. We need to get down there now. Wow, they are marvelous. I mean, horrible. The sensor report says the shrinkagen tanks are completely empty. So those ants must have soaked up a lot of it. But now, they're starting to eat the city. We need to figure out how to stop them. Grab the multi-tool to get some data. Just like I feared, it's an inverted shrinkagen malfunction. Basically, the shrinkagen has merged. Do you see the spikes on their back? And the ones trying to cut out parts of buildings? These must be leaf cutter ants. They're called that because they cut and collect bits of plants to tend their gardens. They're super strong and have complex societies. They won't be easy to handle. This is a major leafcutter ant. Majors are the biggest of the 4 subgroups of leafcutter ant workers. They're basically the soldiers of the colony. They point each other towards threats that need taking care of. When one major signals a threat to the rest of the group, the troops come rushing in. This one is a miner, one of the smaller leafcutter ants. Leafcutters live in complex societies where every caste has a different task. Miners forage for food and leaves to bring back to the nest. A volcano? That belongs to another Kurzgesagt lab. The wave must have dragged it here. Quick, put a capsule in the multi-tool and collect it so I can return it. It must have been hit by the leak as well. The good news is, this object has flexible shrinkagen. Put it in the opticizer to scale it up and harvest its shrinkage. Now move the yellow lever to the correct scale and press the button to extract the shrinkagen. No, that's not quite right. Good. I sent that back to the energy lab and saved the shrinkagen. It was probably not the only one. If you can find the others, we can collect enough shrinkagen for the ants. Cardboard and foam? What an odd flavour for a donut. If you're ever stuck, check the Lab tab. The Transcript tab records everything I say for your reference. I don't think the drone can help us against those giant ants. This is a bacteriophage, or bacteria eater. I can't believe the wave washed it all the way out here. They're found everywhere there are bacteria, but this one belongs to another Kurzgesagt lab. Let's grab a capsule and collect it so I can return it. More inverted shrinkagen. But the blast must have been below the malfunction threshold. This shrinkagen is flexible to harvest. We just need the opticizer. Return this to its original size, so we can harvest the shrinkagen back. It feels great to be back in the scaling game, even with those giant ants and all. Well done, I sent that back to its home lab. Keep an eye out for more things like this. They may be our ticket to shrink these ants. So we have two groups of ants here, the miners, which are responsible for finding food and resources, and the majors, which protect the colony from threats. Maybe we can use that behavior to our advantage. Let's see how they act in their natural environment, the insect realm. Off to the insect realm. Look, there's one of the miner ants doing its job, collecting food and leaving a trail of pheromones to tell the others where to go to get more. If you had some of those pheromones, you could lead the miner ants wherever you wanted. Another duck. Shouldn't you be at your own lab? And it's gone. Strange. Keep an eye out for more ducks, would you? I'll track them in the collections page of the lab tab. The Mars rover? You're a long way from home, aren't you? I'll have to have a word with the energy lab. They clearly aren't storing their nuclear waste properly. Look, there's one of the miner ants doing its job, collecting food and leaving a trail of pheromones to tell the others where to go to get more. If you had some of those pheromones, you could lead the miner ants wherever you wanted. A telescope. It's amazing what you can do with a set of curved mirrors in a tube. This ant must be the queen ant. It's much bigger than the rest, even bigger than the majors. Plus it has a crown on its head. This anthill is probably where those giant ants used to live. Anthills are complex constructions with many chambers connected by tunnels. Like the ants, each chamber has a function like being a nursery, waste disposal, fungi garden, or keeping aphids. Look at this plane. Passenger seats really are getting smaller and smaller. Great, that was all the shrinkagen to be collected around here. Now, let's get those ants all together so we can shrink them. This anthill is probably where those giant ants used to live. Leafcutter workers are actually divided into 4 subgroups based on that. Look, there's one of the miner ants doing its job, collecting food and leaving a trail of pheromones to tell the others where to go to get more. If you had some of those pheromones, you could lead the miner ants wherever you wanted. Back to the human realm we go. This is a major leafcutter ant. Majors are the biggest of the 4 subgroups of leafcutter ant workers. They're basically the soldiers of the colony. They point each other towards threats that need taking care of. When one major signals a threat to the rest of the group, the troops come rushing in. This one is a miner, one of the smaller leafcutter ants. Leafcutters live in complex societies where every caste has a different task. Miners forage for food and leaves to bring back to the nest. This must have been left over from the wave earlier. Too bad for us, it doesn't seem to have damaged the ants. They have water-repellent surfaces. Pesky giant buggers. This is a major leafcutter ant. Majors are the biggest of the 4 subgroups of leafcutter ant workers. They're basically the soldiers of the colony. They point each other towards threats that need taking care of. When one major signals a threat to the rest of the group, the troops come rushing in. This is a major leafcutter ant. Majors are the biggest of the 4 subgroups of leafcutter ant workers. They're basically the soldiers of the colony. They point each other towards threats that need... If you want to analyze something, you'll need to remove the capsule from the multi-tool. It's not a multitasking tool. Cardboard and foam? What an odd flavour for a donut. This must have been left over from the wave earlier. Too bad for us, it doesn't seem to have damaged the ants. They have water-repellent surfaces. Pesky giant buggers. Leafcutter workers are actually divided into 4 subgroups based on their sizes. The smallest ones. Look, there's one of the miner ants doing its job, collecting food and leaving a trail of pheromones to tell the others where to go to get more. If you had some of those pheromones, you could lead the miner ants wherever you wanted. Pheromones are essential for ants to communicate. It's a little like giant ants need giant pheromones. We should have enough shrinkagen by now to scale them up. Try using the opticizer. Now you need to deploy them, so again, push the yellow button on the opticizer. Great. Now, Duck will be able to help you lay your own human-sized pheromone trail. You should have just enough trail pheromones to attract all the miner ants. Time to show you another feature of the drone, the vacuum beam. Drive the drone over to those pheromones and pull the trigger to suck them up. Now you can use the drone to lay a path. Pull the trigger to spray pheromones at the ground. Try to lead them to the intersection in front of the donut shop. That's a good spot. Just do that a few more times to make a path from the ants to the donut shop. Good. You've got the start of a trail. Almost there. One more spray should do it. That's the minor ants gathered up. Now we just need to get the major ants together so we can shrink them all with one good blast of shrinkagen. Let's go back to the insect realm and see what we can find to attract the major ants. Major ants respond to threats to the colony. Other ants can create a burst of alarm pheromones that says there's something scary here, and the majors will come deal with the problem. The major ants seem awfully interested in this bottle. There was another ant in there. It must be releasing alarm pheromones that are making the major ants react. Unfortunately, even though you freed it from the bottle, it's still stuck in that water drop. Thankfully, ants don't get their oxygen by sucking air into their lungs, so the water doesn't get inside very quickly. But they do have openings in their body, so they can't stay alive in that drop forever. If you collect it, maybe we can help it out. At this size, the forces holding the water drop together are stronger than the ant. You may be able to help by manipulating the scale of the water drop around it. We have enough shrinkagen to do that. Thankfully, ants don't get their oxygen by sucking air into their lungs, so the water doesn't get inside very quickly. But they do have openings in their body, so they can't stay alive in that drop forever. If you collect it, maybe we can help it out. That should have had some effect. Let's go to the human realm and see. The forces that make water molecules stick together are strongest at the edge of a water drop. So as soon as the drop is so big there's more middle than edge, the water drop breaks apart. These alarm pheromones indicate that this ant sees us as a huge threat. It's trying to call in reinforcements to protect the colony. And here come the major ants, ready to eliminate the threat which in this case is us, so you might want to hurry. We have plenty of shrinkagen to take care of all these ants. Just grab that other capsule, put it in your multi-tool and blast those ants. Ah, there, perfectly regular-sized leaf-cutter ants going home to their perfectly regular-sized colony. I'd say that's a job well done. But let's make a quick trip up to the mountain realm to make sure we got them all. Well, we got all the ants, but now there's... Is that a tardigrade? That's incredible. We have to go see it up close. Take us back to the human realm. Wow, that's a huge tardigrade. I love tardigrades. They are so cool. These troops are a total overkill. I'm sure it just wants to play. We need to scale it down before it gets hurt. And causes more damage, of course.